Ever wondered how to make brown chapati? In this recipe, I am going to be showing you a very detailed step-by-step recipe that you're absolutely going to love. I'm going to be using 5 key ingredients for this recipe. I have some wheat flour, salt, sugar, oil, and warm water. In my jug, I have 2 cups of water. I'm going to add in my salt and sugar. Stir in. I find using warm water very easy for making my chapatis. The chapatis are always soft and layered. So if you're going to be trying out this recipe, I would recommend you try out using warm water. Also, I add both sugar and salt to my chapati recipes because the sugar adds a lot of balance to my chapati. Hence, I'm going to have an amazing chapati. So don't skip on the sugar. So I'm going to be adding in my water slightly as I mix using my hands. My hands are clean. Go in with my hands and make sure to squeeze in the water into the wheat flour. Knead the dough using the palm of your hands and apply pressure with your knuckles, making sure all the bits of wheat flour are fully combined into the dough. Keep kneading until the dough feels soft, and if wet, add a little bit of flour as you need. If it feels hard, add a little bit of water and knead again until you have a very soft dough. I'm going to be adding in some oil. Knead in the oil. My dough is well rested after 15 minutes, so I'm going to move to the next step. So I'm going to give my dough a little bit of kneading. Once I press down, the dough is not sticky and it's very soft. So I'm going to be transferring my dough on my countertop. So I'm going to add in a little bit of wheat flour. Knead a little bit. Divide the dough in half, and then I'm going to be working on one dough. Add some of all-purpose flour to my countertop. Flatten the dough using my rolling pin and make sure to sprinkle in some wheat flour if you notice that it's sticking to the countertop. Once the dough is thin, I'm going to be adding in some oil. Spread the oil around. Using a knife, I'm going to cut into strips. The dough should not be perfect, but just make sure it is a little bit flat. Next, add in some cooking oil and spread the oil using the palm of your hands until it's evenly distributed on the dough. Applying oil on the dough is going to give me layers, so don't skip on the oil. Once done, I'm going to use a knife and cut the dough into strips. I'm going to be rolling the dough and make sure to roll tightly so that you can have some even dough. The last roll of my chapati. The next thing, I'm going to pick one roll of chapati and sprinkle in some all-purpose flour. Press down using the palm of my hands just to flatten up my dough. Make sure to add a generous amount of flour because you don't want the dough to stick on your countertop. And then I'm going to roll out using my rolling pin into a circle or into a round shape. It's quite easy. Press gently and flip. If you notice that the dough is sticking, just sprinkle in some wheat flour and continue. Once done, I've placed my chapati pan over medium flame. I'm going to transfer my dough and place the dough on top. Pick the next one. Don't forget to add some wheat flour on your countertop or whatever you're using to flatten the dough. Press down and roll out the dough into a round shape. Try moving the rolling pin vertically and horizontally. That will give you a round shape. I'm going to flip my chapati and let the other side cook. You'll notice that you're going to make a good chapati when you notice air bubbles in the chapati. So also be careful because they have steam. Once my chapati is ready, I'm going to transfer to a plate. Transfer to my chapati pan and pick a next roll of chapati. Press down a little bit and flatten using my rolling pin. One of the first challenges that I faced when making brown chapatis was that I used to make the dough very soft, so the chapati would break while I'm frying in the pan. But over the years, I've tried to perfect the chapatis, and I'm still working on my brown chapati. But so far so good. My brown chapatis have not been breaking, and they have turned out amazing. Working with brown wheat flour is a little bit tricky, so just try out several times and learn new tricks as you move. I remember the first time I made brown chapati. My chapatis cracked like biscuits. That was the funniest thing ever because I was disappointed and at the same time it was very funny. So all these steps are very crucial when you're trying to learn how to make chapatis. For example, this step is very important because you're trying to cook the chapati because you don't want raw chapati. Have you ever gone somewhere and eaten chapati and the inside part of the chapati is not cooked? Yes. That happens when you skip this step. Flip my chapati. And at this point, I'm done rolling out my dough. So the next step is to oil my chapatis, which are looking super yummy. So I'm going to be working on 4. So I'll add 3 more to my chapati, to my pan. Add in a little bit of oil and cook until the chapati is golden brown on all sides. The reason my chapati has air pockets is because I rolled out the dough evenly. If you notice that the dough doesn't form any air pocket, it means that you didn't flatten the dough evenly. So make sure the thickness is the same as you roll out using a rolling pin and you'll have a very nice and puffy chapati. Make sure the chapati pan is heated well over medium heat before you place in the chapati, because if the chapati pan is not hot enough, it will make the chapatis to be super hard. Adding the oil on the chapati is going to make the chapatis to turn out very soft. Flip and just look at that. I've also covered my chapatis with a paper towel just to catch the steam. I hope you'll be trying out this recipe because a lot of you have been asking for the recipe. Once done, I'm going to be covering my chapatis for around 10 minutes with a kitchen towel. This is going to help the brown chapatis to soften up because of the steam. So my brown chapatis have turned out amazing. They're soft and full of layers, and I love that everything is just perfect. The salt, I've already had one. The salt and the sugar are balancing so good, so the chapati is very delicious. So I hope you'll be trying out this amazing chapati, brown chapati recipe, and you're absolutely going to love with your entire family. Switch the regular white chapatis and try out this delicious and amazing recipe.